Hey guys, we're going to be starting a new unit today on probability. We'll be spending the next 2 weeks on probability. If you will make sure that you have some paper, a pencil, and a calculator ready, then we will go ahead and get started. So today's lesson is just going to be kind of a basic introduction to what probability is and how to find it. So probability is a measure of the chance of a specific event occurring, noted as capital P stands for parentheses, or I'm sorry, capital P stands for probability, and then in the parentheses, this E here stands for the event. So for example, if we want the probability of choosing a yellow marble, in parentheses it would say yellow. Okay, probability is expressed as the ratio of favorable outcomes to the total number of outcomes. This ratio can be written as a fraction, decimal, or percent. We are mainly going to focus on writing our answers as fractions. So over here to the side, let's write it in fraction form. So it's the ratio of favorable outcomes that goes in the numerator spot. I'm just going to abbreviate favorable because I'm short on space here. So favorable outcomes over total outcomes. Okay, and that will make more sense in just a minute once we start our examples, but I think it's helpful to see it in fraction form. Okay, the sum of all probabilities in a sample space is equal to one whole. And we'll come back to this word sample space in another lesson a little bit later in the module. Okay, first example, it says a month of year is chosen at random. Find each probability. First question, capital P stands for probability, probability of choosing a month that starts with J. So if we go through the months of the year, January starts with a J, February, March, April, May, June, there's another one, July, a third one, August, September, October, November, December. So we counted 3, January, June, and July. So 3 is our numerator. That's the favorable outcome, the number of ways that the event we want would happen. Over the total number of possible outcomes is 12 because that's how many months are in a year. Okay, now, for simplifying your fractions, if you downloaded the calculator that we talked about in the module last week for MAD, then you should have that on your computer already, and you can use that to help you simplify your fractions. Or, of course, if you already had your own, you can simplify on there. We will also provide a link to a website that you can use that's very user-friendly to help you simplify fractions as well. So we will include that at the top of this module. So 3/12 is going to simplify to 1/4. So we said we're going to focus on just leaving our answers as fractions mainly, but I think it also sometimes is helpful to think about them in percentages as well. We know that 1/4 is one of our familiar benchmark percentages, 25%. You know, percentages are something that you're used to hearing a lot, especially with your grades, you know, out of 100%. So that kind of gives you a good idea in your head of exactly how likely you would be to choose a month that starts with the letter J. So there's a 25% chance or 1 out of 4 chance that you would choose a month with the letter J. Okay, next question, probability that the month starts with a T. Well, as we go through the months of the year, there are no months that start with the letter T. So that would be 0 out of 12, which then just simplifies to a whole number of 0. So there is no chance, it's impossible to choose a letter that starts, to choose a month that starts with the letter T. Okay, next example. A letter from the word probability is chosen at random. Find each probability. Okay, I want you to pause the video, try these 3 questions on your own. The first one is the probability of choosing the letter B. Second one, probability of choosing a vowel. And then the third one, probability of choosing a Y. So pause, try those on your own. When you have your answers as simplified fractions, then press play to come back and check. Okay, probability of choosing a B. There are 2 B's in the word out of 11 total letters. That cannot be simplified any, so we just leave it as 2/11. Probability of choosing a vowel. There are 4 vowels in that word out of 11 total. Again, that cannot be simplified. So 4/11 is our final answer. And then the last question here, probability of choosing a Y. Well, there's 1 Y out of 11 total, and that one can't be simplified either. Okay. All right, before we get started on the next group of questions, we need to review some information about a deck of cards because you'll need to be familiar with this for a lot of the questions in this unit. So if you are not familiar with playing cards, and maybe you are a little more so now, maybe that's something you've been doing at home with your families. If not, it's something that maybe you could do to occupy some of your time. So there are 52 total cards in a deck. In any standard deck of playing cards, there will be 52 cards. We have 4 different suits. Each of these are called suits. My 4 suits are clubs. That's the first row. Spades is the second row. Hearts is this row. And then diamonds is the 4th row. Each suit has 13 cards in it. Okay? And in any deck, the clubs and the spades will always be black, as you can see in the pictures here, and then the hearts and the diamonds will always be red. Okay, so that's kind of the basic information. We will provide a document with this picture in the module. That would be helpful for you to pull up and have in a separate tab, or maybe even print it out, and you could use that to refer back to as you're working on some of these questions. And we'll kind of click back and forth as we answer these next questions so that we can see all of our cards. Okay, it says if a card is chosen at random, this should say from a standard deck of cards, find each probability. Okay, the first one, probability of choosing a queen. So let's go back. Okay, our queens are over here. Those are the cards with the Q's on them. Okay, and there's 1 queen in each suit. So if there are 4 suits, then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 queens out of 52 total cards. That can simplify, and it simplifies down to 1/13. Okay. All right, next question. Probability of choosing a card that is red and has a 3 on it. So it must be red and it must have a 3. Well, we know that we have these 2 suits down here that are red, and then there's a 3 in each of those 2 suits. So it looks like there are 2 different cards that are red and have a 3. So 2 out of 52. Okay, and that will simplify to 1 out of 26. Sorry, the handwriting on that came out kind of bad. That is 1 out of 26 is what this says right here. Okay, last question on this slide, probability of choosing a spade. So let's go back and look. Okay, spade is one of our suits. Okay, this whole second row here, we could count them, but we also know from our information right here, which will be helpful for you to memorize, there are 13 cards in each suit. So that would be 13 spades out of 52 cards. Okay, and that's going to simplify to 1/4. Okay, that's one of our benchmark percents. So we know that that's a 25% chance of happening if you were to give your answer in that format. Okay, next question. A pencil box contains 5 red, 6 yellow, 8 blue, 3 orange, and 2 purple colored pencils. If one is chosen at random, find each probability. Well, the first thing that I would do on something like this, anytime they spell out numbers, I think it's helpful to write them out just because our brains kind of visually can process the information better if we see it written in numeric form. So let's do that together first. So we have 5 red, 6 yellow, 8 blue, 3 orange, and 2 purple. I think I got them all and didn't miss any. Yeah. Okay. Now, I want you to try these 3 on your own. The first one is, what's the probability of choosing a yellow pencil? Next, what's the probability of choosing a blue or purple pencil? And then the last one, what's the probability of choosing a pencil that is not orange? So if you will pause, try those 3 on your own, make sure that you remember to simplify the fractions all the way, and then press play when you're ready to check. Okay, first question, probability of choosing a yellow pencil. Well, if we come over here and look at our information, we have 6 yellow pencils. Now, they didn't tell us in the problem how many total pencils there were, but we can certainly figure that out on our own by adding all of the numbers together, and that gives us 24. And then that simplifies to 1/4, which also would be 25% if you wanted to give it that way. Okay, next, probability of choosing a blue or purple. Well, there are 8 blue, there are 2 purple, so we are combining both of those together because we could choose either one of them. So 8 plus 2 gives us 10 out of 24. That simplifies to 5/12. So the probability there would be 5/12. Okay, the last one on this slide, the probability of choosing a pencil that is not orange. Well, we have 3 color pencils that are orange, so probably the easiest thing to do is just going to be, we already know there are 24 total, so we could just subtract 24 minus 3, which gives us 21 out of 24. Another alternate method, instead of subtracting 24 minus 3, if you didn't think about it that way, you could add together all of the other colors, 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 2, and then that will also give you 21. And this will simplify as well to 7/8. Okay, one other little topic that we're going to look at is called the complement of an event. So the complement of an event is the probability of the event not occurring. Since the sum of all probabilities in a sample space is 1, which we mentioned at the very beginning of the lesson, the probability of an event not occurring is 1 whole minus the probability of that event occurring. So let's talk about what that means with these 2 examples here. So the first one says, if the probability that it will rain tomorrow is 3/8, what is the probability that it will not rain? Well, that's going to be 1 whole minus 3/8. You are allowed to use a calculator, so you could just put that in your calculator, but just also to think about it and where our answer comes from, 1 whole we could represent as 8/8 minus 3/8, which gives us 5/8. And that cannot be simplified any, so that would be our final answer. Okay, number 9 says, if the probability that someone will win a game at the carnival is 1/24, what is the probability that they will not win? Okay, I want you to pause the video, try that one on your own, and then press play when you're ready to check. Okay, so we would do 1 whole minus 1/24. The 1 whole we can think about as 24/24 minus 1/24, and that gives us 23/24, and that cannot be simplified any, so that's how we would leave our final answer there. Okay, so hopefully this video has been helpful. You can go back and rewind, play anything back that you need to. Also, be on the lookout in the module for the information on the deck of cards that you can print out or save in a tab and have up as you're working. All right, thanks, guys. Hope you're having a good day.